Hey, what's up, Mr. Rashad? Something new for the channel. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. Still trying to workshop a name for this show. If you got a name, drop it in the comments. I appreciate it. But yeah, talk about this show. As a disclosure, I am not a super huge Lord of the Rings aficionado. I do understand the lore, what's going on, but some of the subtleties and nuances and things like I ain't got it. I watched the Lord of the Rings, the trilogy, for the first time back in January when I had COVID, so I had lots of time to do nothing. So watched that, enjoyed it, by the way. And I said, shoot, this is coming on, I'm gonna watch it as well. I don't read books like that, so I didn't read none of the books. I have no idea what's gonna happen next, so I'm not gonna spoil anything for you if you're coming into this fresh like me. This is literally just a take on what I see, what I like, what I dislike, and maybe how this can move forward. So, first off, the first episode, it is exposition heavy. Like, they clearly want you to know where we are, what's the time period. This is the second age, and who our players are. So essentially, we have the elves, the new Minorians, the Southlanders, which are like the humans, the Harfoots, which are like the hobbits, the predecessors of the hobbits, because they can't use the hobbits because of rights and licensing issues. And then you have the dwarves. So these are the five groups of peoples. And then there's going to be a bunch of different places. And of course, the kind of the whole point of this is, the whole point of this is from basically the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and that's Sauron. And Sauron was supposedly defeated, but there is Galadriel, who was in the OG trilogy as well. She's in this. We see her as a kid elf, and we know elves, they really are long-lived. So she thinks that Sauron is still around, and the episodes kind of give you hints and clues that, yeah, there's still some evil out here. We still got some orcs out here, you know what I'm saying, doing dirt, doing evil. And there's just it's a lot going on. So you're gonna have to be fully prepared to listen and pay attention and watch with like no distractions. Like, you can't be on your phone with this. You're gonna have to be watching and paying attention. So that's the main thing. The second thing is Amazon spends a lot of money for this, and they actually spent a lot of money making it, and it shows. This is one of the best looking things that's on television or streaming right now. Like, this looks really good. And how they differentiate it from the OG trilogy, as well as bring parallels to what Peter Jackson did, it's really good. Like, I will give that to them. There's some aspects of the show I was like, wow, that looks really good. Like, even like the beginning prologue, showing like the war, and then even like the dragons, and also how the CG is intertwined into this. They did a really good job on that. The what else is going on here? Oh yeah, so in the first episode, it's essentially based around Galadriel, and she is trying to find Sauron. And everybody thinks that Sauron is gone. Of course, we know he's not. So she's really adamant about it. She's leading her little like small group across Middle Earth to go find him, and she's finding little small clues. And people are dying, and she does not care. She is trying to find Sauron, because Sauron essentially killed her brother, and she is taking up his mantle and also his battle. So she is living to find Sauron, and which kind of causes a lot of angst among the elves, especially like the high-ranking elves. They basically bring her back home. Oh yeah, all her whole crew just straight up turned their back on her. That was kind of messed up. So we see the reaction to her having this essentially obsession to finding him, especially when kind of Sauron is for the most part in hiding and trying to gain strength so he can come back out and boom, hit him with the 1-2. And yeah, so Galadriel is the best part of the show, in my opinion. Galadriel is really the best part. Like, the actress is doing a good job playing her, and it really shows. Like, the best part for me again is Galadriel. On the contrast, I'm gonna say this, and this may upset some people, but the worst part for me so far is the Harfoots, and it's not really the fact that they're Harfoots, but it's just the fact of what we're doing with them. And the character that I just dislike the most is going to be Nori, basically Nori Brandyfoot, and that's like she's like the Frodo of the show of sorts. Like, she's the one that's was gonna lead them into this adventure, or one of the players. And I just don't like kids in TV shows and franchises just doing stupid stuff, right? And there's another character that does something dumb too that I just don't like. And I just don't like when those kids doing stupid things are like a part of the actual story. So we see her at the first episode as the adventurer, and they're going to get basically like these blackberries from this little farm that's been closed off, and there's this dog thing, and she's the one always want to take a risk and go out farther than where she should go. Always trying, crossing the boundaries, because the Harfoots, like the hobbits, they are better together. They try to stick together. They don't really go off on their own because there's power in numbers. So she does that. She wants to go out. She wants to adventure, and could have easily got like her and a bunch of her friends killed, but she recognizes, and then she bounces back home. The crazy part is when the end of the first episode, the meteor comes down, and there's like this random guy in it. And then she feels this overwhelming duty to help this random naked old white guy. Like, I don't understand why. Like, you gonna help this dude that came out of the sky, who does not talk, who screamed on you, who's making animals die. Like, I just, like, that part for me is like, no, that's no. You're not helping the old man in the woods who just fell out of the sky. Even though and at this point, we don't know who this person is. This person could be Sauron, because they try to hint towards that, how the whole eye looked. It looked like an eye when he landed. Or that could be just a misdirect. He could be a wizard or something. You know what I'm saying? Like he could be anybody, but she wants to be the one to help him. And then even her friend, what's her friend's name? Her friend's name is Poppy Proudfellow, and Poppy's trying to be the voice of reason, but since she's been dragged into it, she's gonna just hang with her girl regardless, which is a stupid friend, because she should be saying, hey man, like, we need to go back to the house. Like, this is not gonna work out for us. So that part I didn't like. Also, when it comes to the Southlanders and those people, there's going to be Bronwyn, which is a single mom, and then her son Theo. Now, her son Theo and some other kid essentially go into somebody's house and rummaging through, and he takes this relic of a hilt of a sword. And this sword just so happens to have the symbol of Sauron on it, right? And he grabs the sword, sees an entire vision, and then keeps the sword. By the end of the second episode, he's bleeding because there's orcs under his house, and it's a really cool horror scene with him and his mom trying to fight the orc. And mom actually beheads the orc, which was like, okay, we see you out here, Bronwyn, doing your thing. So he's bleeding, grabs his sword because they gotta go. Then he grabs his sword to leave, and then the blood gets attracted to the sword, and the sword starts to grow. And your boy is like just still keeping the sword. So we already know that evil is going to be following them wherever they go, even though they're leaving the town where the orcs are trying to tunnel underneath, because Bronwyn and one of the other elves, my man's name is Arondir, who's essentially a black orc with waves and an edge up. His set of elves are watching the Southland and the people's there just to be on guard. And basically, they're like the police. So he's just there, and then he recognizes Bronwyn, has a whole crush on Bronwyn, you know what I'm saying, wants to get with her, and they end up going to some other town. There's been some rumors of what's going on, and cattle's coming back sick. My man went to try to get some milk from the cow, and it was pumping out black from its udders. So he's like, yeah, let me go see what's up. So they go to the town. Whole town is decimated, and there's big tunnels. He ends up getting grabbed up by some orcs by the end of that episode as well. That was definitely in the trailer too. So this is a lot of stuff going on. Then we also have another elf, and this is Elrond, which was played by your boy from The Matrix. That's the guy's name in the original trilogy. This is young Elrond, and young Elrond is kind of I feel like he's kind of stupid and kind of not knowing what's really going on, because he essentially wants Galadriel to come home, hang out, and then go off into the literal sunset of elf heaven. And she doesn't really want to do that, but she ends up going down the path to try to do that, jumps off the boat, and then her call to adventure starts that way. Elrond, on the other hand, goes to the elf capital. Is called to actually help with building this tower that is going to be the most powerful thing ever built. But elves ain't really got a whole lot of manpower, so they got to go to the dwarves. Now, this dwarf is his friend, which is Prince Durin the Fourth, and Durin's like, yo, I'm not letting you in. So ended up coming in, had played this little contest. They had it breaking boulders with hammers. He loses, and then him and Durin have this discussion as he escorts him back out of the mountain. Again, another scene where the money in this show is really coming into play. Looks amazing inside this mountain where there's still like light coming through, lots of levels. This is essentially the same place in, I think, The Tale of Two Towers, where they had to go in for the old place for the dwarves. Anyway, 20 years has passed, because that's supposed to be his boy. But again, like I said, since elves are so long lived, it doesn't register for him. And Durin is like, fam, like, it's been 20 years. I got a whole wife. I got 2 kids. So much has happened. Like, we don't be out here forever like y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because elves are essentially immortal. So he's like, man, my feelings is hurt. And he was big mad about it. They end up reconciling. And we're going to see if he's going to actually help them build, because they need manpower. So the dwarves have the ability to build. And even his Prince Durin's wife, Princess Dissa, was talking about how they talk to the mountains, feel the mountains, and it speaks back to them. So they got some secrets to behold and to be holding of from everybody else. All right, we got the dwarves, the elves, Numenorians, Southlanders, Harfoots, and all these things are going to eventually merge together. Now, The parts that I like the most has to be the scene where after Galadriel is in the water. It's like beginning of episode 2. In the water, and she's swimming, and then she ends up getting found by some random people on this raft because their boat was attacked by this, like, they call it a worm. It's like a sea dragon, and then the thing ends up coming back, and it just was an awesome scene. Like they did a real good job portraying the seen and unseen threat to build that tension, and then you see the monster, and then you don't see the monster. Very Jaws like in a way, and yeah, that scene was really good. Then only 2 of them survived, and that was, what's your boy's name? Halbrand and Galadriel. They survived. And then, of course, you see they kind of will probably create some sort of bond because of them coming together. But yeah, and there's a bunch of other stuff that happened in this episode. Like, I just don't remember because this is so much. I'm be honest, but this is like the bulk of the episode. Eventually, these stories are all going to converge. You just kind of how writing works. But overall, the first episode was really slow. And then by the end of the first episode and the second episode, it picks up. So can't wait to see the third episode to see how we kind of develop the story. Galadriel and your boy Halbrand end up getting rescued by someone, don't know who it is, and they're gonna end up probably going to somewhere else. I don't know where. Doesn't matter. We're going to see next episode. I'm not the pro at this one right here, but I am going to have fun watching it and being totally ignorant to who these people are outside of the couple main characters from the OG trilogy, and just going into it blind and having fun watching it. If you're in this boat, definitely comment below. If you're not and you want to like fill in some of the blanks, be very mindful of the spoilers or potential spoilers. That's all I ask. But yeah, that's all I got for today. We will see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. Western Bros, me and Antonio. We're doing that. And then on Thursday, you have a new She-Hulk. And yeah, that's it for the week. But see you next time.